Hey guys, I'm going to see if I can go through this in 15 minutes. If something's not clear, please holler at me. The students will be on campus on Wednesday, so I feel like we've got a little bit of grace because most of them don't know that their course is through D2L, so I don't think they'll be in it before Wednesday when they come take their launch exam. So the first thing I want you to look at is under the Instructor Resources tab. Notice that's not visible to students. The bottom two things. There's a to-do list for instructors, and I've kind of spelled out what each of their things are, what they're doing with this, and then who's in charge. There's a few things that we need to get back to somebody with, and I did that in the emails that I introduced you to those people this morning. So Dr. Penrod, if you don't mind being the liaison for the Camp Beta, and I think I put Dr. Brown down here for Jackson County. The rest of them are kind of, you know what I'm missing? School of Medicine. Okay, ladies, I'm going to try to get through this in 15 minutes, hitting the high points. Feel free to nose around and change what you want for your course, although they should all be fairly similar. Under course content, if you look under instructor resources, notice it's hidden from the student's view. Really pay attention to the last two here. This to-do clinical list is going to make sense to you in a minute after we go through the syllabus, because the clinicals are a little different in 435 where they have a little bit more option. So I've listed with each of those different clinical opportunities how the students sign up for it, or is it something they are assigned. If it's something that we work with somebody off campus, I've put who our main contact is. The only one I think I've kept is the School of Medicine Day on Tuesday next week. I'm doing that one. Because I had them sign up over the summer. And then the Lincoln Scholar, I'll get all that paperwork done next week when they're here for their launch exam, and I'll send that to Donna Bryan, who's our contact there. And then you can kind of scroll through and see who is contact information, how students sign up. Questions about that, holler at me. I have not got into this, but there is a way through Trajexis that we can have our preceptors submit their evals of the student through Trajexis. I would love for somebody to try it this semester. If you don't want to try it because I'm just throwing this at you at the last minute and you prefer to do a QR code with a Survey Monkey and you pull the data that way, feel free. I do think this is something we need to tackle this year. So if you feel like it, great. If you don't, then we'll get it for next year for sure. Under the course intro, I want to look at the syllabus. We're going to look at the syllabus and the clinical evaluation primarily. You'll notice the only tabs that are open or available to students is the course intro, which has the syllabus, and then that addendum that comes from the provost. There are no e-learning materials. You will not be going to SurePath with this. Then there's the assignment tab and the discussion board post. So they only see three things here. Here's our course, our clinical stuff, this regular stuff up here. If you want me to change anything, like Heather, if you want me to add your phone number, all this stuff, I'll be glad to do that for you. Just shoot it to me. And make sure everybody says outcomes here. When I go through this with students, I tell them we're looking at two things. How are those, not everybody, a lot of people have good management skills and a lot of people are good leaders, but it's a rare quality, I think, to have somebody with good leadership qualities and then excellent management skills at the same time. So that's really what they're looking at when they're on site, and then when they're doing some of these other clinical opportunities. They're really being observers in some of these additional opportunities. So here's how we're getting what we're doing in the course. Here's the course schedule, which is what I mentioned earlier. They have to do 24 hours with that preceptor that they're assigned with. Some of them really enjoy their preceptor, so if they want to do more hours with that preceptor, that's hunky-dory fine, as long as they're doing the other things that they have to do on campus. The reason I changed that is because several students in previous years just told me it was too much, especially when they were on night shift. They were sitting a lot, so that's why I put that down to 24. So they all are assigned a week, two of them at a time. There's a few weeks that have three people, that they have to do all 10 hours of open lab per week, and that's in the assignment tab here. There's Hearts in Motion. That's also, let me show you that. That's also over here in the assignment tab. The IPE day is mandatory. More information will be coming from Dr. Penrod on that one because she's running that. Jackson County Health Department, I think I introduced you guys to that person, Lisa Quillman, this morning in an email, and Heather Brown's going to be our primary contact with that one. The school IM day, I've already had students sign up for that. And I'll run that next week with those guys because I committed to that over the summer. There's this camp beta that I really want to push. So when you're doing your video to your students, because you guys probably won't see them unless you come to the orientation, which is next Wednesday, for next Wednesday afternoon for the seniors. Dr. Penrod's going to be our primary liaison with this one because she's also going to work in some 445 hours they can bank, or a project they can bank for that. Lincoln Scholar, I did an email for that this morning, and that's only on Tuesday, so I'll have optional sign up there. Dr. Solomon, and then this AORN are the other two things there. So what I really wanted to get to was this competency part. No pass fail. They have to get 40 or 64 hours of clinical. They have to get a 78 or higher on this. We've worked a lot with this wording. So they have to get a competent in each area of their clinical evaluation tool. The clinical evaluation tool is in Trajexis, so you'll have to complete that based on input from your the preceptors and input from the students based on how they answer their discussion board questions. And I'll hop over there in a minute. We felt like as a group, when we're looking at this, if a student is competent, that's about an 88, which is a B. So if they do something exemplary, we have to give an example of why they get an exemplary, and then we could add a point to their to that area. And if they do something untoward or not well, unsatisfactory, that would be a 2-point deduction. If they do anything in the safety or professionalism categories, that's an automatic 10-point deduction on that one. So if you add up all the scores, you'll notice that in each of these areas, I say at the end, this section is worth 14 points. So if they get it all, a C in all of them, that's 14 points. This section's worth 16 points because we've made it more, we've weighted it heavier. So here's a good example. Say they don't let's go down to professionalism. Say they don't, they aren't there, whatever they are, I don't know. They talk about a student, they talk about a patient, that's a good one. Then you would mark them as unsatisfactory and they would lose 10 points off of this. So a U here would be minus 10 points on that. If they do something that's either unsatisfactory or if it's exceeding expectations, we need to write out what that is, especially down here, write out what that is, because it talks about what happens when they don't do those things well, and what we do with those. So that's there. And then we have our clinical conduct policy and our attendance policy here. So read through those. Nothing new. We have talked about this amongst the faculty, so it's not new to us, but it is new to the student. We are really strict on their attendance, especially using Trajexis, and you'll see I put the Trajexis right here because I felt like that followed under the attendance policy. So being very specific about tardiness and leaving early and clinical absence and clocking in. So I hope that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, holler at me and I'll be glad to go over any of that with you. And then when we go down to the assignments, I put a copy of the clinical evaluation tool here. You will complete it in Trajexis, but it's here for the students to be able to see what they're looking at. I think it'd be a good idea when you do, if you come to orientation or if you do a video orientation for the student, that you go over that clinical evaluation tool and note how it correlates with the syllabus as far as points for the semester. Then the clinical assignments tells them where to go to sign up for things. So if it's like a mandatory thing, like they're when they have to do their 10 hours in the lab, they're already assigned for that. I do not mind. I did it by clinical group, so you'll be able to see when it pops up here when it pops up here that like Cody and Maria Vicente are both in the same clinical group. So if they want to switch with someone else, I don't care if they switch. That's up to you guys. I know Heather Brown has voiced that she allows them to do that, but they have to take care of that switch independently. So that's up to you, however you want to handle that one. So you can kind of scroll through here and see how the students are directed on when they need to sign up or how they need to sign up. Most of them are signing up in Trajexis, etc. So I'll have all that in place by Monday. Then the Hearts in Motion information. And then I wanted to look at the last thing here, something that Dr. Brown, Dr. Penrod, and I decided last week is not to give them extra points for discussion board. The discussion board is really how we're using that to gauge if they're meeting those components of the clinical evaluation tool. So it's all just one grade. It's all put together for one thing. So you'll notice on the first discussion board post, it's I don't like the way they look like this. They look this way, so let's hop over here. When we have that discussion board post for the first week, all I'm looking at is how are they going to achieve the course objectives and get their 64 hours, because we want them to sign up quickly for this. So that's week 1. I would emphasize they need to have this done quickly, so they can plan out their life, and then we can share that information with the people that need to know who's going for what. And then every week thereafter, we decided to pull this information from the clinical evaluation tool. I didn't pull Kolb's experiential theory in here because I didn't want to make more work on you guys. So really what you're looking at is for them to tell you what they completed this week and then how that impacted one of those areas on the clinical evaluation tool. It's up to you to make this as wordy as you want when you're replying back to your students. So if they didn't give you enough, like if they just said, well, I went to the Jackson County Health Department, gave flu shots, that doesn't give you anything that doesn't tell you anything as an instructor to help gauge whether or not they did it satisfactorily or competently. So you could respond back to them, give me more, tell me more, etc. So all of these will look the same from week 2, I believe, through week 15. And then when we get all the way down to week 16, it looks a little bit different. All I said was complete the course evaluation, because by this time everybody's in HESIs and they're tired. So let me know what you need me to do. I think Dr. Brown and Dr. Penrod, you guys are in this course, so feel free to copy that over to your existing portals. And then Heather, Julian, let me know what you want, how I can be helpful to you. And then Erica, I'm sharing that clinical evaluation tool and my syllabus in the email that goes out with this, just so you can see the wording. You can copy and paste that wording to your 415 clinical syllabus if you're interested. And let's have a good semester. Don't hesitate to holler at me and give me this weekend to get the Trajexis dates in for everything. Again, I think I do have a little wiggle room though, because the students won't be here until Wednesday, and I don't think they're aware that the course is in D2L because no one's registered for it yet. Erica has already set up the clinical and course expectations for the seniors next Wednesday at 1. So if anybody wants to hop in for that to meet their clinical group, Heather, if you want me to do a virtual thing, I'll be glad to set that up. We could do that kind of closer to the end if you'd like, so they can put a face and a name. Otherwise, let's have a good semester. Thanks, guys.